What happens when the man who bought you admits he's obsessed with you, and the feeling is mutual? Aria Chen made a deal with the devil. 1 year as property of Mafia Lord Damien Volkov to pay her father's debts. But this morning, everything she believed about that deal shattered. A mysterious burner phone, a locked file in Damien's office, and a truth so devastating it changed everything. Her father wasn't just a gambling addict.
He was a spy.
A double agent who betrayed the wrong people and got himself killed. And Damien? He didn't trap her to collect a debt. He trapped her to save her life. The Kozlov organization wants revenge. They want Aria dead for her father's sins. Every smile at a gala, every medical procedure, every moment she's spent in Damien's world, it's all been calculated protection disguised as captivity. And the man she's been fighting against? He's been fighting for her all along. But here's where it gets complicated. Damien Volkov just confessed he's obsessed with her. Not in a creepy, possessive way, though there's definitely that, but in a I think about you constantly, I check security feeds to make sure you're sleeping safely, your smile is the best part of my day kind of way.
Raw, honest, terrifying.
And Aria? Despite the lies, despite the manipulation, despite every rational reason to run, she feels it too. The way her heart races when he looks at her. The way she catches herself looking forward to their conversations. The way his rare, genuine smiles make her forget she's supposed to be his prisoner. So she made a choice. Not because she has to stay, but because she wants to. 1 year. Navigate the danger together. Figure out these impossible feelings.
And tonight?
She'll come face to face with the people who want her dead at a high-stakes dinner where one wrong move could shatter the fragile peace Damien's been negotiating. This is where protection becomes obsession, where captivity becomes choice, where the most dangerous thing isn't the Mafia threats, it's falling for the man who holds her contract. The question is, can love survive in a world built on lies, or will the truth destroy them both? Hit that like button if you're ready for the most intense romance you've seen, and drop a comment, Team Trust Damien or Team Run while you can. Let's find out together. Aria woke to sunlight streaming through her windows and the unfamiliar sensation of contentment. For the first time since arriving at the estate, she'd slept without nightmares. The dinner at Yuki's, the conversation with Damien, the promise of something resembling friendship, it had settled something restless inside her. That peace lasted exactly 47 minutes. She was having breakfast in her room, scrolling through messages from Ethan about his upcoming soccer tournament, when she noticed something wedged under her door. A small burner phone, the kind you could buy at any convenience store. No note.
No explanation.
Aria picked it up with trembling hands. There was one message waiting. He's lying to you about everything. Your father didn't just gamble. Check Damien's office. 3rd drawer, locked file. The truth will destroy you, but you deserve to know. A friend. Welcome back to Sold to the Mafia Lord as payment, but she made him obsessed with her. Last episode, we watched Aria and Damien begin to break down the walls between them, finding connection in an impossible 8 situation. But what happens when the foundation of their entire arrangement is built on lies? If you're just joining us, go back and watch episodes 1 through 3. The links are in the description because what Aria discovers today changes absolutely everything. And if you're already invested in this story, hit that like button now and subscribe because this episode will have you questioning everything you thought you knew. Drop a comment with your prediction. What do you think Damien has been hiding? Let's find out together. Aria stared at the phone for a full 5 minutes, her breakfast forgotten. Someone had been in her room. Someone had access to the estate, to her private space, and wanted her to know something Damien was hiding. Every rational part of her brain screamed that this was a trap, that she should take the phone directly to Damien, report the breach, follow the rules she'd been given. But a louder voice whispered, what if it's true? What if everything has been a lie? She thought about her father's supposed gambling debts, the convenient timing of his death, the forged signature she'd never questioned deeply enough. Damien's careful control of every aspect of her life here. What if? Aria waited until Katia mentioned that Damien would be in meetings all morning, then made her decision. She'd spent 3 weeks learning the estate's rhythms, the security camera placements, the staff schedules. She knew Damien's office was on the ground floor, East Wing. She knew he kept it locked but had seen him enter the code once. 0847. She'd filed it away without thinking, her nurse's brain trained to remember details. Now that detail felt like fate. At 10:30 a.m., when most staff were busy with their duties and Damien was confirmed off-property, Aria made her move. She walked confidently toward his office. Looking nervous attracted attention. The hallway was empty. Her hands shook as she entered the code. The door clicked open. Damien's private office was immaculate, exactly as she'd seen it before. But now she was here with purpose, with questions that demanded answers. The massive desk dominated the space, its drawers probably containing secrets worth protecting. Aria tried the third drawer. Locked as the message had promised. She looked around frantically for a key, knowing this was taking too long, knowing any second someone could discover her. Then she noticed the small antique box on the bookshelf, decorative, easily overlooked. Inside, a single key. The drawer opened smoothly. Inside were files, meticulously organized. She pulled out the one labeled with her father's name, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. The first document was a contract. Her father had indeed borrowed money from Volkov Industries, but not for her mother's cancer treatment. The dates were wrong. Her mother had died 4 years ago. This contract was dated 3 years ago for a completely different purpose. Consultation services for international financial transfers, asset protection, and offshore account management. Her father hadn't been a desperate man trying to save his wife. He'd been working for Damien. As what? Aria flipped through more documents, her horror growing with each page. Her father had been an informant. He'd worked for a rival organization, someone named Anton Kozlov, and had been feeding Damien information about their operations. Double-crossing both sides. Getting paid by everyone. Until someone discovered his game. There were surveillance photos. Her father meeting with Kozlov's people. Her father accepting payments. Her father at locations he'd claimed were business trips when he still lived with them. And then the final document. An incident report dated 3 weeks before his death. Subject Chen Jianyu has been compromised. Kozlov organization aware of his cooperation. Immediate extraction recommended. Subject refused protection, claimed he could handle the situation. Risk level. Critical. The next page was a death certificate.
Car accident.
Single vehicle collision. Police report attached, noting the car's brake lines had been cut. Aria's hands were numb. Her father hadn't died in a random accident. He'd been murdered. And Damien had known, had documented it all like it was just another business transaction gone wrong. I was wondering when you'd find that. Aria spun around. Damien stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. Not angry, not surprised. Just watching her with those dark, calculating eyes. How long have you been there? Her voice shook despite her attempt at control. Long enough. He stepped into the office, closing the door behind him. Who gave you the phone? Does it matter? Is this true? She held up the file with trembling hands. All of this. Yes. The single word hit her like a physical blow. My father worked for you. Yes. He was an informant, a double agent, and someone killed him for it. Yes. And you knew everything. The gambling debts were a lie.
No.
Damien moved closer, his voice steady. The gambling debts were real. Your father had many vices, Aria. He worked for me, yes. But he also gambled.
Badly.
He owed money to multiple organizations. When Kozlov discovered he was feeding me information, they killed him. But his debts remained. I simply consolidated them. You created a false debt to trap me. I created an opportunity. Your father's actual debts were complicated, owed to multiple parties, some of whom would have been far less civilized in their collection methods. I bought them all, folded them into one clean contract, and offered you a way out that kept you and your brother safe. Aria's laugh was bitter and broken. Safe? You call this safe? You built this entire arrangement on lies. I built it on the reality your father created. He betrayed dangerous people, Aria. The Kozlov organization doesn't forgive betrayal. If I hadn't stepped in, they would have come for you. For Ethan. Not for money, for revenge. You think what I've asked of you is difficult? Imagine what they would have done. So you're my savior now? Aria's voice rose. You manipulated everything. You knew exactly who I was, what I could do, and you orchestrated this whole situation to what? Add a nurse to your collection? To protect you. For the first time since she'd met him, Damien's control cracked. His voice rose, raw with emotion. Your father came to me 3 years ago, desperate and scared. He'd gotten involved with the wrong people, made promises he couldn't keep. I gave him a way out, work for me, feed me information, and I'd protect his family. He agreed. Then he got greedy, started playing both sides. I warned him, multiple times. He wouldn't listen. So you let him die. I tried to save him. I offered extraction, witness protection, everything. He refused. Said he could fix it himself. Damien's jaw clenched. I couldn't force him to accept help. And when they killed him, yes, I saw an opportunity. I knew about you. The daughter who'd sacrificed everything for her family. The brilliant nurse working herself to death. I thought if I couldn't save him, at least I could save you. By trapping me in a contract? By making me your property? By keeping you alive? Damien's control shattered completely. Kozlov's organization was already watching you. They knew Chun had a daughter, a son. They were planning. He stopped himself, breathing hard. Planning what?
Aria demanded.
Revenge. They wanted to send a message. Show what happens to informants and their families. I intercepted those plans. I created the debt scenario to give myself a legitimate reason to have you under my protection. Every day you're here, you're safe. The moment you leave, you become a target again. The room spun. Aria gripped the desk to stay upright. You're saying even after the year ends, I'm not free? I'm saying I've been negotiating with Kozlov to drop their vendetta. It's taking time. These things are delicate. But I'm working on it. Every day, I'm working on keeping you safe. And Ethan? Protected. As long as you're under my roof, he's untouchable. They know hurting him means war with me. And nobody wants that war. Aria's mind reeled, trying to process everything. The father she'd thought was a gambling addict had actually been a spy. The debt she'd thought was random was actually calculated protection. The man she'd started to trust had built their entire relationship on lies and manipulation, even if his motives might have been good. I don't believe you, she whispered. How do I know any of this is true? How do I know you're not just telling me what I want to hear to keep me compliant? Damien pulled out his phone, tapped several times, then handed it to her.
Here.
Email thread with Kozlov's second-in-command. Ongoing negotiations about the Chin situation. Dated from 3 weeks before your father's death through yesterday. Aria scrolled through the emails. They were in multiple languages, Korean, Russian, English. But the meaning was clear. Anton Kozlov wanted revenge for the betrayal. Damien was offering money, territory, business deals. Anything to get Kozlov to drop the vendetta against Chen's children. The most recent email, from yesterday, Kozlov willing to negotiate. Wants meeting. Will advise. This could be fabricated, Aria said, but her voice lacked conviction. It could be, but it's not. Aria, look at me. Damien waited until she met his eyes. I've done many questionable things in my life. I've bent rules, broken laws, operated in gray areas that would horrify most people. But I don't hurt innocents. And I don't let innocence get hurt when I can prevent it. Your father made his choices. You and Ethan shouldn't pay for them. So this whole thing, the galas, the medical work, everything, it's all just elaborate protection? Yes and no. Damien's voice softened. It started that way. But then I got to know you. Saw how you handled impossible situations with grace. How you saved Tiang without hesitation. How you made me remember what it feels like to want something beyond power and control. That wasn't calculated, Aria. That was just you. Aria's hands were still shaking. She set down the file, the phone, trying to organize her thoughts through the chaos in her head. Who sent me the phone? Who wanted me to find this? My guess? Someone from Kozlov's organization. They know you're under my protection. If they can drive a wedge between us, make you run, you become vulnerable again. Damien took the burner phone from the desk, examining it. This is a classic manipulation tactic. Feed you partial truths, let your imagination fill in the worst possible scenarios, push you to do something rash. How do I know you're not the one manipulating me right now? You don't. You have to decide who to trust. Damien set the phone down. But ask yourself this. If I wanted to keep you trapped through lies, why would I keep those files in an accessible drawer? Why would I document everything so thoroughly? I'm not hiding the truth, Aria. I'm protecting you while trying to fix a situation your father created. I need time. I need to think. Take all the time you need, but do it here. Don't leave the estate. Please. The please sounded foreign in his mouth, like he wasn't used to asking. I can't protect you if you run. Aria walked to the door on numb legs, then stopped. The contract. The year-long term. Was any of that real? The contract is legally binding. At the end of the year, the debt is cleared. You're free to go. But Damien hesitated. But I'm hoping by then, Kozlov will have moved on. Revenge gets expensive when it's drawn out. He'll eventually decide it's not worth the resources. And if he doesn't, then we figure out plan B, together. Aria left without responding, her mind a storm of conflicting emotions. She went straight to her room, locked the door, and sat on her bed, trying to make sense of everything. Her father, the man she'd grieved and resented in equal measure, had been living a double life. The debts were real, but also fabricated. Damien was her captor, but also her protector. Nothing was what it seemed. Everything was more complicated than she'd imagined. She thought about calling Ethan, but what would she say? The truth was too dangerous. The lies too complicated. So she sat in silence, watching the afternoon sun move across her floor, trying to decide what she believed. A knock came around dinner time. Miss Jin, may I come in? Kadia's voice. Aria unlocked the door. Kadia entered with a tray of food and something else, a thick folder. Damien thought you might want to see these, Kadia said, setting both down. Your father's full file. Everything we have.
No redactions, no hidden pages.
He said you deserve to know the complete truth, not just fragments. After Kadia left, Aria opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside was her father's life, laid bare in surveillance photos, financial records, recorded conversations. She read late into the night, piecing together the story of a man she'd thought she knew but had never really understood. Her father had approached Damien first, offering information about Kozlov's organization in exchange for money to pay off gambling debts. It had started small, minor details, public information. Then it escalated. Bigger secrets, higher stakes, more money. He'd gotten addicted to the danger as much as the cash. There were notes in Damien's handwriting throughout the file. Subject unreliable. Too reckless. Recommend terminating relationship. Another note, dated 6 months before her father's death. Subject asking about daughter. Wants assurance she'll be protected if something happens to him. I've agreed to watch over family if needed. Aria's throat tightened. Even in his messy, complicated way, her father had tried to protect them. The final notes were from after his death. Chen's daughter, Aria, shows promise. Medical training, strong work ethic, fierce loyalty to brother. If Kozlov's situation escalates, she could be useful as medical staff while under protection. Proposed debt consolidation strategy to bring her into household. Note, must handle carefully. She's not like her father. She has integrity. She found herself crying for her father, for the mess he'd left behind, for the complicated truth that he'd been both terrible and loving in equal measure. Around 3 a.m., Aria made a decision. She pulled out her phone and texted the number Damien had given her for emergencies. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Everything. His response came immediately, like he'd been awake waiting. My office.
8 Uhr morgens.
Thank you for giving me a chance to explain fully. The next morning, Aria dressed carefully, Not in designer clothes, but in her own simple dress, armor of her authentic self. She arrived at Damien's office at exactly 8. He looked like he hadn't slept either. Still in the clothes from yesterday, hair slightly mussed, eyes tired but alert. "Thank you for coming," he said simply. "I read everything. All of it. Every page in that file. And I have questions. A lot of them. But first, I need you to answer one honestly. When you brought me here, was it purely tactical? Was I just a chess piece in whatever game you're playing?" Damien was quiet for a long moment. "Initially, yes. You were a solution to multiple problems. But Aria, I'm not that cold. I wouldn't have fought so hard to protect you if I didn't see value in who you are as a person. Value. Like an asset. Like someone worth protecting. There's a difference." He stood, moving to look out the window. "My father taught me to see people as resources. Useful or not useful. For a long time, that's how I operated. Then you arrived, with your stubbornness and your integrity and your refusal to be anything less than yourself. And I remembered that people can be more than their usefulness. They can be important." "Important how?" He turned to face her. "You make me want to be better. You make me question decisions I would have made without hesitation before. You make me feel things I thought I'd train myself not to feel. That's terrifying and addictive in equal measure." Aria's heart was doing complicated gymnastics. "Damien, I don't know how to process this. Everything I thought was a lie. And now you're saying there are feelings involved? That makes it worse, not better." "I know. But I won't lie to you anymore. You asked for honesty." He stepped closer. "The truth is, yes, I brought you here as protection dressed as payment. But somewhere in the last month, you stopped being a responsibility and became someone I look forward to seeing. Someone whose opinion I value. Someone I want to protect not because I have to, but because I can't stand the thought of anything happening to you. That's not love. That's possession. Maybe. I don't know the difference anymore. My father loved my mother in his way, controlling, possessive, consuming. Maybe that's all I know how to feel." His voice dropped. "But what I feel for you is different. When you smile at something genuine, I feel lighter. When you challenge me, I feel alive. When you're hurting, I want to fix it. That's not how I've felt about anyone before." Aria's breath caught. This was dangerous territory. This was everything she should run from. But her traitorous heart was beating faster, her resolve cracking. "I need you to understand something," she said quietly. "I don't hate you. Despite everything, despite the lies and manipulation, I don't hate you. But I don't trust you either. Trust takes time. And truth. And consistency. Then I'll give you all three, for however long it takes. The contract says I'm here for a year. After that, I'm free to go. Yes. And if I choose to leave, even if the Kozlov situation isn't resolved," pain flickered across his face, "then I'll do everything in my power to protect you from a distance. But I won't force you to stay. That would make me no better than the cage you described." Aria studied his face, looking for deception. She found only sincerity and something that looked like fear, that she'd leave, that she'd never forgive him, that this fragile connection they'd built would shatter. "I'll stay," she said finally. "Not because I have to, because I choose to. But Damien, if you lie to me again about anything, we're done. Contract or not, Kozlov threat or not. I'll take my chances. Understand? Understood. No more lies. No more omissions. And I want regular updates on the Kozlov negotiations. I'm not a child to be protected from information. This is my life. I deserve to know what's happening." "Agreed. Anything else?" Aria took a deep breath. "Yes. Tell me how you really feel. Not the tactical reasons. Not the practical explanations. Just the truth." Damien's control, always so perfect, crumbled. "I'm obsessed with you. I think about you constantly. When you're at events, I watch you instead of conducting business. When you're sleeping, I check security feeds to make sure you're safe. When you smile, genuinely smile, it's the best part of my day. I've tried to maintain distance. I've tried to keep this professional. But I can't. Every day, I fall a little more under your spell, and I don't know how to stop it. I don't think I want to. The raw honesty in his voice made Aria's defenses crack. That's not healthy.
No.
But it's honest. They stood there, 3 feet apart, the air between them charged with everything unspoken. Aria knew she should maintain distance. Should keep this professional. Should protect her heart. Instead, she closed the distance between them. I need you to understand something, she said, looking up at him. I'm not staying because I'm falling for you. I'm staying because I need to protect Ethan. Because running makes things worse. Because I choose to believe you're better than your worst actions. I understand. But she hesitated. But that doesn't mean I don't feel something. I hate that I do. I hate that when you smile genuinely, my heart speeds up. I hate that I look forward to our conversations. I hate that I'm starting to see the man behind the empire, and I like what I see. I hate all of it.
Why?
Because it makes me vulnerable. Because if I let myself care about you and you betray me again, it will break something in me that can't be fixed. Damien raised his hand slowly, giving her time to step back. When she didn't, he touched her face gently. Then I'll spend every day proving I won't break you. That's a promise I can keep. Aria leaned into the touch despite herself. This was reckless. This was dangerous. But standing in his office with morning light streaming through windows, everything felt possible and terrifying in equal measure. We have to be smart about this, she whispered. Whatever this is. Agreed.
No rusing.
No pressure. And no one can know. Not Katia, not staff, no one. Our secret. Damien? She looked up at him. I'm still angry about the lies. You should be. I would be too. And I'm still leaving after the year is up. Kozlov situation or not. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, acceptance. I know. But for now, can we just exist together? Figure this out as we go. I'd like that very much. He kissed her then, soft, tentative, asking permission with every movement. Aria kissed him back, allowing herself this moment of weakness, this moment of wanting something for herself instead of just surviving. When they pulled apart, reality crashed back. The complications, the danger, the impossible situation. But for just a moment it had felt simple. 2 people finding connection in chaos. I should go, Aria said. People will wonder where I am. Tonight there's a business dinner. Kozlov's people will be there. I need you with me. Fear spiked through her. The people who want revenge? They won't try anything in public. But they'll be watching you, assessing, looking for weaknesses. I need you to be perfect.
Can you do that?
Aria thought about everything at stake. About Ethan, safe and unaware. About the fragile peace she'd just negotiated with Damien. About survival.
Yes.
I can do that.
Good.
Katia will brief you. This is important, Aria. Tonight determines whether Kozlov accepts my peace offering or escalates the situation. Then we better make it count. She left his office feeling like she was walking on a knife's edge. Everything had changed in 24 hours. The lies revealed, the truth complicated, her feelings impossible to deny. Tonight she'd come face to face with the people who wanted her dead. And she'd have to smile and pretend everything was fine. Welcome to Damien Volkov's world, where love and danger danced together and nothing was ever simple. Are you ready for the explosive finale? Because episode 5 brings everything crashing to a head. What happens when Kozlov's revenge comes directly for Aria? When Damien has to choose between his empire and the woman who's captured his heart? When Aria discovers just how deep her feelings really go? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the conclusion. Drop a comment with your theories. Will Aria and Damien get their happy ending, or will this dangerous world tear them apart? Find out in the final episode. Trust me, you won't see the ending coming.